بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Sorry for the lateness. We had some technical difficulties. Is that what we're going to say? Call it technical difficulties. So we started a little bit late tonight, but inshallah we're going to make sure we get something done tonight, inshallah. Alright, so we're on chapter 116 from Adab al-Mufrad. قال الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى باب إماطة الأذى. إماطة الأذى. Alright, I was about to say من الطريق, but yes. Alright, so al-imata, it comes from the verb what? This is a masdar from what verb? Oh my God. Come on, يا معشر العرب, فين أنتم؟ يا عرب.
يموت. يموت؟
No.
يموت؟
أماطة. أماطة يميط. إماطة.
Yeah, I said يموت.
You say يموت.
No, يموت with the thought.
Not أماطة.
Yeah,
يميط.
يموت.
No, لا يموت. هذا ماطة يموت. موطا. Not إماطة. Oh my God. Chinese Arabs. Yeah, made in China Arabs. What have we got here? Allah musta'an. Because this is, amalta, it comes from the af'ala, yuf'ilu, if'alan. So the masdar is always, not always, but most of the time, 99% of the time, if'al. Huh?
نزل نجيب ماء.
Huh?
نزل نجيب ماء.
Hey. Ibrahim, you help him out. He's going to go down and get some water, inshallah. So like an example of this would be like what? Aslama yuslimu islaman. Ajlasa yujlisu ijlasan. Like this, alright? So this is af'ala yuf'ilu if'alan. Amalta yumitu imaltatan. Alright, but this because obviously here it has a weak letter, so that's why you see the difference. Alright. So amalta, what does it mean?
You remove something out the way of the street.
Yeah, exactly. So it means nahahu wa ab'adahu. If you want to memorize it in Arabic, so you can start being made in China. All right. So nahahu, it means what?
أماطة.
Yeah, azalahu ab'adahu. Yeah, azalahu an makanihi. Azalahu an makanihi. To take something and remove it from its place.
إماطة الأذى عن الطريق.
Yeah, so you're removing it. Yeah, removing it from the place that it is in the pathway, so the people can go through safely. Exactly. So babu imatati al-adha. Al-adha is what?
That is something that hurts you.
Yeah, anything that causes harm. All right, anything that causes harm. All right, physical harm. All right, so this is basically like the brother said, what? Removing harmful objects or anything that can cause harm from the pathways. All right, so hadith number 228. حدثنا أبو عاصم عن أبان ابن صمعة عن أبي الوازع أبي وازع جابر عن أبي برزة الأسلمي رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله دلني على عمل يدخلني الجنة قال أميط الأذى عن الطريق. So he said, all right, so this hadith is reported on Abi Barza al-Aslami. He said, I said to the messenger, O Messenger of Allah, Dullani ala amal. What is dullani? Yeah, show me, to point out.
Sure.
Yeah, guided, point it out to me. Like, show me what action I need to do. Dullani ala amalan yudakhiluni al-jannah. All right, an action that will enter me into Jannah. All right. And of course, this is after what? What is he speaking about?
After Islam?
No, after the fara'id. Because obviously the one thing that's going to enter the people into Jannah, first and foremost, is what? Carrying out their obligations, As-salawat al-khamsa, Ramadan, al-hajj, in istata'a ilayhi sabila. These things, the wajibat, they come first. But here the Prophet ﷺ is not talking about, like, this is, like, okay, you don't have to pray. Like you pray one day, you don't pray the next day. But as long as you remove something harmful from the pathway, that you go to Jannah. No, this is talking about what? After you fulfilled your obligations. Now these are the extra acts of good that you can do that will be a means of you going into Jannah, inshallah. So he said, قال أمطل. Listen. Yeah, أمطل الأذى. Alright, so here what? To remove any type of al-adha عن الطريق. Yeah, أمطل الأذى. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a tongue twister right there, right?
I think so, yeah.
أمطل الأذى عن الطريق. Alright. So he said, remove any type of harmful object from the pathways of the people. عن طريق الناس. Alright, عن طريق الناس. 228. Alright. So, this can be what? Hissiyan and ma'nawiyan. Alright, hissiyan, like what? What do we say this means, hissiyan?
Something that, yeah, you can feel.
Like something physical. You see a nail in the middle of the road, and you're afraid that maybe a Muslim will drive over it and it might damage his tires. So you remove it. That's hissiyan, right? Alright, hissiyan. Alright, anything physical. You see something that can cause damage to the car. You see anything like this. Alright, ma'nawiyan, like what?
Meaning, like, إنما المشركون نجس, like that's الشرك المعنوي.
No, but what about this imata, al-adha an tariq?
Like shubuhat?
Ma'nawiyan is like you advising people to do it.
Oh, like the ma'nawiyan is like removing bid'ah, removing shubahat from the path of the people, from the path in the deen. So just like you would, like, you know, just like we would remove something that we see physically harmful for the people, we also, something that is what? Something that's abstract, which is people calling the misguidance. And we see like, oh no, you know, this is going to be a danger. The people that are trying to be on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, but now they're about to hit a roadblock. You know, there's going to be something in the pathways that's going to cause them harm, to also remove those. And which one is the most important that we remove? The bid'ah, the shubuhat, and all the things that the people call the people to. Alright, so it's both. You know, for the people, when you see something harmful in the actual physical pathway, you remove it. You know, but also if you see something that's in the pathways of the people, or the people are calling the people to misguidance, then you also remove that too, to the best of your capabilities. Alright.
Well, why is that more important then? Why is that more important?
Because a car can be fixed. But if shubahat and shak can get into your deen, that's very difficult to fix. You can't take that to a mechanic.
Because it grows and grows and grows.
And it gets stuck in the heart. So you see, like these people, they get affected by those shubahat, and those, you know, this. It's very, very rare that they return salim min hada, you know.
Yeah.
It destroys them, akhi. So, you know, and then even if the person does actually come back to the truth, they come back like damaged goods, you know.
Like al-Ghazali. Like al-Ghazali, when he studied philosophy, and he just went downhill.
Everybody. I mean, I remember somebody, I haven't personally read this, but it was a statement by Imam al-Dhahabi. It's from one of the students was telling me about this in Dimash. And then they were saying, like, because he was reading the life of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. So imagine, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. He had to get busy, he got busy studying philosophy, but not because he thought that there was truth in philosophy, but because he wanted to do what? Imatatul adha an tariq. He wanted to remove the obstruction, but how can he remove it if he can't refute it? So he learned it to refute the philosophy. And Imam al-Dhahabi what was reported said, you know, like I said, I'm just narrating this from another student. I didn't read this personally, but, you know, so he said that Imam al-Dhahabi said that when Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah got busy going over the, he said like before he was getting involved in philosophy, he said his whole face was just like nur. But he said once he got busy with the philosophy, he said you saw that nur got dimmer. It started to go out of his face. And it's not that he wasn't worshiping Allah, but because he got busy trying to refute these people. So if this is what philosophy does to a man like Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, you understand? Where his own student will mention this, because Imam al-Dhahabi is a student of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. So if he were to mention this about his own shaykh, you know, so imagine what it would do to a person who actually thought it was the truth. Imagine that. Imagine a person who actually thought that he's reading Aristotle, reading the metaphysics of and actually thinking like, I'm benefiting something.
Yeah,
Reading the Republic by Plato and thinking like, I'm really learning something here.
There's a translator who does that. There's a translator who does that.
We're not going to worry about all that right now. But the point is that the thing is like, people getting involved in that type of philosophy. And just look what it did to a man of his stature, of his status. Something, akhi wallahi, we could never dream in this life, in our lifetime. We could never dream of being at the level that he was at. So if that's the type of effect it had on him, busying himself, and to refute it, because that's what he was trying to do. He's trying to remove the obstructions from the path of the people by refuting them, and he destroyed them. He destroyed them. And even there is one story about what's his name, Mahmud Khalil Haras, the sheikh from Egypt. Now this is true story. Now this is from his own mouth. But he mentioned, because he was in Al-Azhar. All right, and he was one of the top students at the time in Al-Azhar, and in philosophy, and Ilm al-Mantiq. So what they did is, because they saw his level of understanding in philosophy, so they said he was going for his PhD. And to do his PhD, they said, okay, this is what we want you to do. We want you to go through all the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah and destroy all his philosophical arguments. Because nobody could respond to Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Imagine that a man who only studied philosophy for the only purpose of what? Destroying them. Yeah, they're refuting it and destroying it. Until that time of Mahmoud Shaykh al-Haras, which is what? In the 70s, like 60s or 70s. So this is not like that long ago, right? So imagine, up until that time, they could not refute Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. All right, so they said, okay, you're the strongest student that we have. Take all of his books, refute him. You know what happened? He sat down for the whole entire year. He read through the Majmu' al-Fatawa, read through the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. He finished his dissertation, or whatever you call that thing for the to become, get his doctorate, right? He refuted Al-Azhar. He refuted the philosophers, and he stood with Shaykh al-Islam. He said, after I read his books, he said, there's no way I could refute him. He said, I refuted them. They gave him his doctorate, and then he left and he went to Sardiya, and he started teaching in the universities there. He wrote a Sharh al-Wasatiyah, which is one of the most famous shuruh that most of the students of knowledge, they study till today. So, you see this. There's no doubt. There's benefit. Look at what the man did. At that type of level, that hundreds and hundreds of years later, people can't respond to him. And but that's what happens, is that these people, they wait. They see like somebody like Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, they can't respond to him. So what do? They do anything to get him locked up and get him killed, whatever. Now he dies. Now they say, okay, now we have an opportunity. They come out, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises up what? Another student, another person that's going to come and just bust their heads wide open. And then they thought that all these hundreds of years later, that what? They got it. We got it now. So we got our best student, our number one student, got a master's degree in philosophy. He's going to do this. He's going to sit down with the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, and he's going to rip them to shreds. And he ended up ripping them to shreds. So you see the same thing happen with the Shanqiti, rahimahullah. The Shanqiti, even though Imam al-Shanqiti, rahimahullah, he was from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, Aslan. But he was not familiar with the books. He hadn't sat down and read the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, because in Mauritania, they just didn't have access to those books. They had access to what? Just handwritten books in those days. Because this is way back, when he was doing seeking knowledge, he was in Mauritania. And they just didn't have that. They just didn't have access to books. So when he came to Sardiya, and he was actually, it was an emir. It was one of the emir umara of Sardiya. He loves like poetry. One of the people from the royal family. So they were doing Hajj. And Shanqiti was in a tent. The emir was in a different tent. So they came, Shanqiti didn't even know who this man was. So he came up to him and said, look, do you know anything about poetry? And does he know anything about poetry? This man's memorized 1,000 poems from Jahiliyyah, right? At least 1,000 poems. He is like a walking poetry book, right? All the poetry that he says, he said, I can do something. So they called him into the tent of the emir, and he said, so he started just explaining and breaking down all this poetry. And they're like, no. The emir said, you stay here. You're not going back to your country. You're staying here. So then they got him with the Mufti of the Mamlaka at the time, which is
Muhammad Ibrahim.
huh?
Muhammad
Yeah,
Ibrahim.
Muhammad ibn Ibrahim was the Mufti at the time.
Understood.
And then they sat down, Allah yarhamu, and they said, no, he stays. He doesn't go back. You're going to stay with us. So, but they said, because, this is the way that we teach. These are the books that we teach. Because at that time, even till now, Saudiya is known for following the madhab of the Hanabila. So they said, look, this is the madhab that we teach, so you need to get familiar with it. So they gave him Al-Mughni, Ibn Qudama. All right, how big is that?
12 volumes?
Yeah, it's huge, right? It's like that big, all right? It's, yeah, I have it at home. It's a beautiful, nice size book. All right, Al-Mughni Ibn Qudama, and they gave him the Majmua Fatawa Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Now this is actually, you could read this is at the beginning of the introduction of Adab al-Bayan for anybody that has the book. So you could read Muhammad Atiyah Salim, which is a sheikh from Egypt. He wrote the life of Shafiqi. He wrote about this in the beginning of Adab al-Bayan. So he said he sat down and he just went straight through Al-Mughni and went straight through the Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah's Majmua al-Fatawa. Because he was already a sheikh. If you want to know the level of Shinqiti's knowledge, especially in refutation of the philosophy, he was already refuting the philosophers before he even went to Sardiya, before he read the books of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. All right, because if you go and you read, he's got a risala that he wrote himself while he was doing a rihla, as a rihla ila al-hajj. You can find it, it's a part of the Majmur Shinqiti. The Majmur Shinqiti is huge. It's got his Adab al-Bayan, it's got Adab al-Munir, it's got all the different books that he wrote. So in the last part, before he crossed over, because he actually went on camel, actually. So he was going through all these different, countries in Africa. And then the last part was he was in Sudan. And he sat in Sudan, and the Sudanese people did the same thing. They're like, no, you're not leaving. You're not leaving. He's like, no, I'm going on Hajj. I have to go. They wanted to keep him there, right? But it's all, the back and forth between him and the ulama of Sudan at that time was about what? These masail al-mantaqiyya, which is like about logic, so which is the main science, the principles that the philosophers use. And he was just busting their heads there. That's why they said, no, you got to stay. You can't go. He said, nope, I'm going to Hajj. So he was already at that high level, and then he sits down and reads Al-Mughni. Just reads it straight through. Reads Majmur al-Fatawa straight through. And then he that just, instead of man, it was, he was already blazing, right? But then once he read those, it's just like, it's on. Now it's really on. Now you took a man. This is something that Shinqiti said about himself, Allah yarhamu. He said there's not a statement of the Salaf about, he said, I know every statement of every one of the Salaf that's authentic, that's real, for every single ayah in the Quran. That's Shinqiti. And then, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the Ali Sheikhs, but I can't remember which one. But they mentioned about Shinqiti, I mentioned this before, where they said if you say a word in the Arabic language, in Arabi, and Shinqiti says ma'arifu, he said, la tabhath anhu. La tabhath anhu. Don't even go and look for it, because he said, you're not going to find it. It's not Arabic. If he doesn't know it, it's not Arabic. His son said about it. I told you the thing about Bidayah wa Nihayah. Did I tell you that story? That was his son Abdullah.
Oh yeah, to memorize it. Like you read it 3 times and you
No, he told him, he said, read the page.
Read it again.
He said, read it again. And then he said, read it one more time. And
Like,
the third time, he said, why are you still looking at the book? He said, yeah, Abi. He said, oh, my father, if I were to sit here all day long, I would not memorize this page. But he expected him to memorize it. He said, by the third time, why are you still reading from the book? That's the level that this man was on. And that was his son. I mean, even his tafsir, he died before he could finish it. And then they were like, who's going to finish this book? Nobody. Nobody could finish it. Like, nobody. Atiyah Muhammad Salim eventually took the book and finished it, because he was one of the students of the Shinqiti at the time for years. So he said, they voted, they said, look, man, they got together, they said, you're the only one who can do it. And he was like, I can't do this. There's no way. But they made him do it, But subhanAllah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that book right there, just the Adab al-Bayan, subhanAllah, just I think I mentioned that on Telegram today, didn't I?
No, we were talking about.
No, today, this morning. Check it.
Yeah. You
What did I say?
You said, I would advise whoever has the ability to sit down and read Adab al-Bayan by Imam Shanqiti to do so. His introduction to the book is more beneficial than 95% of the books that are written today in the deen.
Akhi, his introduction to the book is like 40 pages. And it's just nothing but knowledge. Like this man, if you go and you listen to him, like one time he was giving a talk and he was doing the tafsir of ayat from Surah Al-Baqarah. He never had a book in front of him. Never. Never. Even Sheikh Mufrad rahimahullah mentioned about him. I think I mentioned it in one of my books, but I can't remember which one it was. I think it had to be the Seeking Knowledge book. Well, I actually took the statement of Sheikh Mufrad rahimahullah. It was on audio. And I, wrote it out exactly what the Sheikh said, But the Sheikh said, he said, Wallahi ya ikhwan, الرجل هو يقرأ من حفظه من حفظه. What did he say? He said ولا يتتعتع بكلمة يا إخوة. He said هو يقرأ من حفظه. لو نحن قرأنا من الكتاب لتتعتعنا في القراءة. He said ولا يتتعتع. What does that mean? تتعتع يا صينيين. No, go ahead. Come on. يا أبا اليمن.
I ain't none of that.
What is it? Go ahead, you got it.
Like to mess up, like in every word, like
stutter.
Yeah,
like when you're like, you're like messing up and you're like flipping, like tripping over your words as you're reading. But he said that he would go and he would just sit there and yasuruduhu saradan, he would just it would just flow out of his mind.
We got San Diego, Abu Bara.
Where?
Online.
He still hasn't got me Fath al-Bari, ya akhi. Allah musta'an. This is a campaign. This is a Fath al-Bari campaign. Actually, no, man, I don't want Fath al-Bari. Now I want the Majmur Shanqiti. After I sat down and started reading the Adab Bayan, I'm like, nah, man, I got to get the rest of it. I had it. I had the whole Majmur Shanqiti in Sardiya. And left it. Allah musta'an. All right. Before I get depressed. All right, now. You just making sure the sound works or what? Still hasn't got me Fath al-Bari, ya
It's like hitting the rewind button.
All right, turn it off. All right. So now, hadith number 229. حدثنا موسى قال حدثنا وهيب عن سهيل عن أبيه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال مر رجل مسلم بشوك في الطريق فقال لأميطن هذا الشوك لا يضر رجلا مسلما فغفر له. So he said, this is reported on the authority of Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه. He said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, a Muslim man, all right, he said, marra rajulun muslimun. Marra means what? To pass by, huh? What did you say? No, what did you say?
He said time.
Because I heard a marra.
Oh no, marra too. Marra rajulun muslimun bi shawk. Shawk what?
Showed like that.
Thorn.
A thorn, yeah. All right, في الطريق. فقال لأميطن هذا الشوك. What is it, لأميطن?
Gonna remove.
Why لأميطن?
I will do it.
Yeah, the noon here is what?
Saqi.
The noon of Tawqid.
Tawqid?
Tawqid, yeah.
Tawqid Saqi.
Yeah, Thaqila, yeah. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, no doubt about it. I'm going to do this. Like, because you might say, لا أميط هذا أنا طريق. أميط هذا أنا طريق. Well, maybe you do it, maybe you don't. Maybe something happens. But it's like you say, لا أميطن هذا. That means like, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. No doubt about it. هذا الشوك لا يضر رجلا مسلما, so it doesn't bring any harm to any Muslim man. And of course, a Muslim man here, it includes the women also. رجلا مسلما, and because he's speaking fil what? Fil ghalib. All right, fil ghalib. So this is what the people need to التفطن لها, is what? When we what does that mean? يتفطن.
Tafaddan is to remember.
It's like to intellectually, intellectual. How do you say that? Yeah, to use your intellect to understand it, like to see this and perceive it as it is. Is that he used the word man because who are the people that are mostly going to be in the pathways?
Oh yeah, maybe that pathway was just for men now.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in general, in those days, in the people in a society of Islam, where women are mostly busy taking care of the house,
Yeah.
and men are mostly going to be moving around in the pathways, right? So it's just talking about al-ghalib, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't include the women also. All right. Musliman فَغُفِرَ lahu, and this became a reason for what? His
Maghfirah.
sins.
Mufrad.
Yeah. All right. So he got his sins forgiven for this purpose. Yeah, I think you're coughing like that, and you go and eat ice cream. Have you lost your mind? Dude, I'm waiting for your lung to come up on the carpet now. You just ate ice cream.
And was the sunshine?
All right. We got one more hadith in this bab, and we can finish it up. All right. So 230. Hadathana Musa. Musa man. Oh, come on.
I know. I said I know. I'm gonna let them.
Oh, Musa man.
Yeah.
We've taken Musa so many times, huh?
Ismail.
You can answer now. Musa bin Ismail. قال حدثنا مهدي عن واصل عن يحيى بن عقيل, and all of these hadith Sahih Muslim.
Fucking said, cover your mouth. You cover your mouth.
He can't cover his mouth because his lung is coming out his mouth. All right, and Yahya bin Ya'mur عن أبي الأسود الديلي. What did we say the last class? Dili or what? Ad-Du'ali. And what's his name? What do they say his name is? يختلفون. I mean, they have ikhtilaf, but there's like main two names that they say it's either this or that. But there's more ikhtilaf than that. They say his name is Zalim ibn Amr or Amr ibn Zalim. And other names, but that's like the two like strongest of the ikhtilaf. But the strongest one is his name is Abu al-Aswad ad-Du'ali. Ad-Du'ali. All right, what is he famous for? Come on. You forget, or are you just passing this question on to other
I'm
people?
passing the question.
Huh?
I'm passing it.
You passing it because you don't know, or you
No, I'm
passing
passing it. I'm letting. I'm giving them an opportunity.
You sure? Because I don't think he is.
No, I do.
All right, what is it? No, they don't know.
See.
He doesn't know, huh?
No, that's the camera, the spotlight's on. No. Oh, Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali. The one who... Now I know. Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali. No, about because of the nahu.
Yeah, so they say that Ali ibn Abi Talib ordered him to put together nahu.
Sheikh Muqbil said that لا يصح. Like it's unauthentic.
It's not authentic. But this is the popular. All right, so this is what you're going to read in all the books of nahu. All right. What is he? Is he a tabi'i? Sahabi? What?
Tabi'i.
What type of tabi'i? What tabaqa? You wrote it in your book. I wrote it for you on the phone.
Oh.
He's not a companion.
Mukhadram. Yeah, mashallah, you got it almost right. You got it. That's it. Mukhadram. And what is a mukhadram?
He was alive during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, but he didn't meet him. But he's still a Muslim.
Well, he didn't meet the Prophet, so you have to meet the Prophet ﷺ at least once. What's the condition for a person being Sahabi?
He has to be alive during the time of the Prophet ﷺ and has to meet him.
At least once.
At least once.
All right, and what? There are people that met the Prophet ﷺ as a Muslim and then left the deen.
No, like they had to be a Muslim until they died.
What about if they left the deen and came back to it?
During or after the death of the Prophet?
After. Yeah, at the time of the Ridda, right? So the condition is that they mat ala al-Islam. Mat ala al-Islam. Even if something happened where he might have left Islam because of the shubahat of the people and he came back, but as long as he died on Islam, then he's considered a Sahaba.
So how much of the Yawm al-Ridda, how much people did Abu Bakr kill?
You have to go to Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya and read.
Is it like over 10,000 or?
There's a lot.
So this is all the Sahaba were just fighting against the
Right.
the real reverts. These are those are the reverts, you know.
أستاذ المخضرم يعني الذي رأى سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Oh, you didn't see him.
أو لم يرى.
Yeah. But he was alive in the time of the Prophet. But he didn't see him. And he's a Muslim, right? But he didn't see him. Because you got people like in Yemen that became Muslim in the lifetime of the Prophet. You know, so like Mu'adh ibn Jabal went to Yemen, Ali radiallahu anhu went to Yemen. So there are people that stayed in Yemen and they never got a chance to get to meet the Prophet. Well, they met the Sahaba, so that will make them a Tabi'i. Even though they were alive in the time of the Prophet, but they never met him. So they can't be Sahabi until they actually meet the Prophet. So all those people in that time that remained on Islam, they'd be considered Mukhadaramin.
When you say you have to meet them, like you have to meet the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a meet like.
But you have to meet him mu'minan bihi.
Yeah, but it's like.
So no, what I'm saying, that's a condition at the time that he met the Prophet, that he was mu'minan bihi. Because maybe he met the Prophet when he's still in Jahiliyyah, then he left, and then he became Muslim. But then once he became Muslim, he didn't go back and meet the Prophet with Islam. He's not considered Sahabi. He has to meet the Prophet at the time that he's a Muslim.
When you say meet the Prophet, like speak to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi
Yeah,
wasallam?
be in his presence.
Or just simply being in front of him?
Being there, meeting him right there.
Like communicating with him?
Assalamu alaikum ya Rasul.
Okay.
Yeah, being there. You see him, like you actually saw him. So you can actually narrate something from him, right? And whatever it is, you know, even if he just scratched his head, but you can say he scratched his head with his right hand, but you can narrate something from him, right? You saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that makes you a Sahabi. But you have to met the Prophet at that time of being a believer in him, and you had to die on Islam. So then your narration, you're considered Sahabi. Not you, not us, because that's never going to happen.
So that's a level of tabi'in, right?
Hey, so the Mukhadram is a tabi'i. But it's like the highest, it's like one of the highest levels, because they were alive in the time of the Prophet.
And what's the other levels?
No, the tabi'in, you know.
There's just 1, 2 levels? Or how many?
No, different tabaqat, because you have different tabi'in that sat with different sahaba. So you might have had one tabi'i and maybe sat with, you know, 20, 25, 30 sahaba. And then as you go down, and like the lower levels, they might have only met one sahabi.
Okay.
So he sat and he took hadith from one sahabi, so the majority of the hadith that tabi'i would narrate is from other tabi'in. But he did actually sit down with one sahabi. So but he's from the lower tabaqat. He's not from like the. Yeah. Well, the mukhadram is just because he was alive in the time of the Prophet.
Okay.
So the tabi'i, it's not stipulated that he had to be alive, but he's alive at the age of bulugh. So you got other people, they might have been alive at the time of the Prophet, living in Medina, but he's a little child, you know. So in that case, no, he won't, because he's not, you know, at that time he's not able to narrate from him, so he hasn't reached that age of being able to narrate, so you don't consider him a Sahabi. Yeah. All right, and this you can go through this in all the books of Hadith. You got like Tadrib al-Rawi by Imam Suyuti. All of these books, Fath al-Mughith, Tadrib al-Rawi. You have the Muqaddimat ibn Salah. I mean, any of these books. Al-Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah, has one famous explanation of. He has one matan in the Mustalah Hadith. What is it called?
Who is it again?
Imam al-Nawawi.
He
has a book in Mustalah Hadith. Matan.
I don't know.
It's called, I forgot the whole name, but it's a taqrib. Taqrib.
Can I add on to something? The Uncle Amjad, he said something earlier. Remember we were talking about the shubuhat, and the uncle, he had asked, like, why is that worse? Because the things that harm you physically, the worst thing it can lead you to is death. But the shubuhat, because it enters the heart now, it's a disease of the heart, that could lead someone to the hellfire. So obviously hellfire is way much more worse than death. So the shubuhat are much more stronger than that what harms your body physically. So like the hissiyah, that's just like in the dunya wise. But the shubuhat, if it's not cured in this dunya, it's eternal punishment in the afterlife.
Yeah, because imagine, like, you step on a thorn. Hey, you're going to feel some temporary pain. And we step on how many thorns a day? Akhi, how many? Dude, I got a thorn in my toe right now. It's been in there, like, I stepped on it so hard that it's stuck in my toe, man. It's been hurting for the last 2 days. But we step on about 20 thorns, at least 20 thorns a day. So what? But imagine now you get a shubha of some deal bandit coming up to you trying to explain to you that Allah is everywhere.
Dang.
Everywhere. Allah is everywhere. You know, and then this shubha gets into your heart, and then you start believing this. And yeah, actually, that's dangerous. That's way more dangerous than stepping on a thorn. Yeah, it's painful. My big toe has been hurting. Can't kick my kids right now.
Because of the shubuhat also leads to the punishment in the grave. Obviously, before even that, the malaika coming down with bushra of adab, punishment in the grave, punishment on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and then punishment in the hellfire. So it's just punishment on punishment on punishment. That's just shubuhat. That's not, thorn.
And you know what, though? I'm still walking outside barefooted. Every day I still not learn my lesson. I go out the house 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, check outside barefooted. If there's somebody out in my yard and I got a machete and I'm stepping on thorns, what am I going to do? I'm going to kick him because maybe kicking him, I'll put some thorns in his face or something, you know? It's like, ouch, 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 you come back here, you know?
The hadith of Abdul Malik, you remember? The hadith of Abdul Malik?
Remind me which one it is though.
لا يلدغ المؤمن
لا يلدغ
واحد
المؤمن
مرتين.
Oh man.
He's smiling.
That's yours.
That was in Ramadan, I think he said this hadith, we'll call it the hadith of Abdul Malik.
And now it's the hadith Muhammad ibn James. Because I'm like,
James.
I walk out that house every single day. Because we got one of these cats that has a fluffy tail. Right? And he goes out and runs around the yard and brings all these thorns and he shakes them off in front of the door. And then we just walk out the door with no shoes on every day and just ouch, 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 you know? Yeah, man. Stupid. Almost dying. That's not taqwa, is it? Remember when we talked about the taqwa and the path of thorns? Yeah, man. SubhanAllah. Alright. So now, this is an Abi Dhar radiallahu anhu. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عرضت علي أعمال أمتي. So this is the Abu Dhar, he said that the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم said عرضت علي أعمال أمتي, that all of the actions of my ummah were presented to me, were shown to me. حسنها وسيئها, the good of it, the good actions, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So he saw all the actions of his ummah. He said, فَوَجَدْتُ فِي مَحَاسِنِ أَعْمَالِهَا. So I found from the good actions, from amongst their good actions, أَنَّ الْأَذَى يُمَاطُ عَنِ الطَّرِيقِ, that any type of harm is removed from the pathways of the people. And he said, وَوَجَدْتُ فِي مَسَاوِئِ أَعْمَالِهَا. What does that mean, masawi? Huh? Yeah, it comes from al-masa'a. Alright, al-masa'a, which means what? Yeah, any type of naqa'is, anything you say it. Yeah. Alright. So from the bad actions of my ummah, right? النخاعة في المسجد لا تدفن. What is a nukha'ah?
It's from the heart. Like the thing inside the bone.
No, it's about what he's about to cough up onto the carpet.
His lungs.
Not the lung, but you know when you're coughing and that mucus comes up and you spit it out. Yeah.
We call it Yemen.
No, that's from the nose. But when you cough it up from your throat, and it comes out of from the throat and you spit it out, that's nukha'a.
Nukha'a.
Yeah.
Okay. With the noon.
Yeah.
Okay.
They probably got that word from the nukha. Because the thing that's inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because it is inside, but then
it's inside that too.
Yeah, you're pushing it out. Yeah. So when you spit it, and that's what they would spit it into the masjid, but they wouldn't what? Yeah, they wouldn't cover it up with like dirt. And that's what he said, fil masjidi la tudfan, that it's not buried, that they didn't bury it and hide it. So then the people, they come in here and he's like got spit on the, and this is an example of what you see of like what was common in his time. But obviously, we look at like what the people do in the masjid nowadays, leaving food in the masjid, leaving, leaving chairs all over the place and
Cigarette butts.
cigarette butts. Cigarette butts and
Weed.
I haven't seen that. I smelt it.
Smelled it.
I'm saying I haven't seen walked up and see
Vape pens.
Huh?
Yeah, I've seen
I've seen vape pens.
I've seen people vape outside, in the courtyard in the masjid. Yeah.
Here or in other
No,
masjids?
different masjid.
So this is common.
Oh, yeah, of course, especially in Hanford. In Hanford, in the masjid in Hanford, they smoke right outside the masjid, right in front of the masjid. You see them smoking. That's why they hate me, because I always tell them, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't be doing this." They're, "Oh, masjid."
I mean, cigarettes, I've seen that my whole life. People smoking outside, especially in Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan, boy, they break their fast, pray Maghrib, and everybody's running outside.
Break their fast with the cigarette.
Yeah, those are the real,
Yeah.
smoking is a real travesty for him to give up. But then you get the not so, those guys, they can still pray and then run outside. While everybody's scooping the food and he's out there coming to Marlboro Man,
Those people are more sinful though, because they're doing it in public, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, it's a sin and you're doing it in public, and on top of that, you are oppressing other people.
So it's three sins in one.
Yeah, there's the people that don't like that smell. And then you want to go outside the masjid, you want to get some fresh air, and here he is, you're low with a joke, you know what I'm saying? He's polluting the air, akhi, with the cigarette smoke. It's come on, akhi, just do that when you get home. Do that when you get home. SubhanAllah, I'm not going to talk about all of our sins of the past, but I'm just saying, I knew people like that, they would smoke it when they got home. They wouldn't do that. They would, because it's just you go into the masjid, you're smelling like cigarette smoke. Then on top, you're smoking at the masjid. And then as soon as you smoke, now you've already destroyed the whole environment now. Nobody can walk outside without smelling the cigarette smoke. And you got to understand, like us, we don't smoke. Yeah, you could light a cigarette down there at Abdul Malik's house and we'll smell it on the balcony. And I can smell it sometimes when I Fajr, because I sit out here on the balcony and I read Quran on the balcony, so I walk back and forth. And I can smell like somebody lighting a cigarette or smoking a cigarette way down the street. The wind blows. Yeah, come on, man. People, you're harming other people, So, and then on top of that, then you go into then they call the adhan for Isha. You go in and you, Allahu Akbar, and you get in the line smelling like a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Still exhaling cigarette smoke. Every breath.
Yeah. But the worst in that is the weed. Well, because especially the weed nowadays, akhi, it's dude comes into the masjid, akhi, one brother, akhi, I couldn't understand it. And I'm, I don't know, you probably know who he is, but I'm not going to say who it is. But, one brother, he smelled so bad of weed. He sat in the masjid reading Quran. Remember this day. Because I walked into the masjid. As soon as I got to a spot, and I said, what's that? Somebody's been smoking weed in the masjid. And I grabbed Malik, Abdul Malik, and I said, come here, man, smell her. And he said, I don't smell anything. I was like, nah. I said, you don't smell it because you're always around it. I said, I smell it right here, right at this spot. I smell the weed. I told my son, I said, get on the camera. See who was in the masjid. And guess who was sitting at that exact spot?
There was nobody where you
No, there was nobody there. He had left. He had left. He was gone. I told my son, I said, get on the camera, check the camera. And then he saw the brother, he was sitting in that exact spot where I was smelling it. He was sitting there reading Quran. He wasn't smoking weed. But because he went out and smoked it, came back and sat down, he left the smell right there. It just would not leave. It was in the air conditioner. And we were supposed to have class downstairs that day. I said, nah, we're going upstairs. We're not having
Maybe
it.
Shafi just said something and he forgot that he had it on.
He might have had it in the bag. What I'm saying, the smell just lingered, for an hour after he left.
Well, when they smoke, or they used to smoke, or they're around people who smoke, they're way to spend it. You smell because.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's worse. A cigarette smoke is not going to sit there and linger for an hour. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. This is much worse than cigarettes. So if anybody tries to say, okay, cigarette smoke is bad, and the ulama have already agreed that it's not permissible for a person to pray in the masjid after he smoked until he gets rid of the smell, because the smell is mu'li, You know, it brings harm to the people. They can't concentrate in the salat because you come in there like Allahu Akbar, and then all the smell comes up and hits you in the face, you know.
Like the one day when it was the guy, me, and Saif, when you started to read Surah Amma, and the guy behind that was next to me, he just smelled like nothing but weed. And when you said Amma Yatasa'alun, it felt like you said Alif Lam Mim. So I had to run out the masjid, act like I was doing it, and come right back, but all the way in the end of the row. Remember that day?
Yeah, and he put my son next to him. Miskeen, my innocent son, you know, who's just gonna suck it up and just take it like a man, you know, just like.
I was not gonna. Wallah, I couldn't breathe.
So he had to go there and pray the whole salat, you know.
When you said Amma Yatasa'alun, it felt like you said Alif Lam Mim Dhalika al-Kitab wa la rayba fihi. I was like, I'm not sitting right next to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, even one night the dude was smoking outside. You remember that one night? That was Ramadan, right? Yeah, akhi, it was so strong. Asad, I walked out with Asad. I said, come on, let's go. And Asad started choking, like coughing on the smoke, leaving the masjid. So it's just like, nah, man, like this type of stuff, akhi, nah. I'm never like, I don't know. This is new for me, man.
On Ramadan, he said, man, it smells like someone was smoking weed. And he went upstairs with the pizza box.
Yeah, man. Well, I didn't go upstairs with the pizza box. I went upstairs. I said, forget this. We'll just eat dates and drink water.
You went upstairs, but I
brought
brought the pizza box.
Yeah, y'all came up with the pizza. And the kids came up and ate with us and khalas, you know. I was like, man, we ain't eating around that, man. Sitting trying to break our fast and all you can smell. Ah, man. So it's crazy, akhi. Wallah, it's crazy.
This is what I mean, all key.
I mean, alhamdulillah. People gotta be taught, but I understand. The thing is, people gotta want to be taught. They want to be taught and want the truth. So almost time.
Fatima said, I agree with Hamza. I literally lost my thoughts when someone came around smelling like it.
Yeah, you can't focus, akhi. This stuff is not natural, man. Wallahi, it's not natural. Like, you know, not saying that the stuff that they were smoking back in the 70s and 80s was natural, but I'm just saying, like, this stuff now, nah, man, come on. I grew up smelling this stuff my whole life, akhi. My father used to smoke, you know, that's all he used to weed every day of his life, akhi. So I already knew the smell as a child, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, this is not normal, man.
It's like artificial flavor.
Huh?
It's like they artificially flavor it. Like,
no, what they've done is they've done chemical manipulation of the plant to increase the THC level to like way beyond what it used to be. So that's why you see when, you know, dude get up in the car, open his door, and the whole parking lot just smells like weed, akhi. You know, it's like, but they don't understand why we get angry about that, because we don't want to smell that stuff. You know what I mean? That's jahiliyyah, dude. We left that stuff. We don't want to be coming to the masjid. We're trying to escape from it. Like right now, just going home to give my son the juice, you know, before we came back here. Yeah, I never, because we're always in the masjid at this time, or I'm at home. One of the two things, but we're not out in the street, out on the avenue, cruising up and down by the park.
Don't say me.
Yeah, let me tell you. Tell him the experience that we had going home to give the kid his juice tonight. We had the windows rolled down. It's a nice, cool night in Fresno, California, and it's just boom, boom, like the whole street. Just weed, every single, like the whole, until we got too close to the house, and then the smell died out.
that's what the bathrooms in ISU smell like. Chia.
Yeah. What, Clovis West, we are the best?
Yeah. It smells like on Belmont. I used to wait.
It's crazy, man. But that's what I'm saying. People don't understand that. This is what we have to go through. This is what we see. We're going home, going everywhere we go. Is you smell it everywhere. Can't we just come to the masjid and just, you know what I'm saying, and get away from that? Can't we have peace from that? Can't we just come to a place and have like some type of safe haven to where we can come here and just be Muslim, practice the deen, and you know what I'm saying? And, you know, all the, you know, because we go outside, we try to tell the people the truth, what? It blows up in our face all the time, right? You know, because here you want to be successful, you have to be a liar. You got to be a show-off. You got to be all the qualities that are, what? Un-Islamic, right? I mean, look at all the people that now get famous, you know, on social media, and look at the politicians, and look at all the examples that we have. The biggest liars, akhi. Wallahi, the biggest liars, akhi. You sit there and they get caught in lies in the same conversation now. They're so stupid. And it's like, so can't we just have a place, you know what I'm saying, where we just come to and we're like, we can relax from that. We know we're not going to smell this garbage. We know we're not going to have to deal with that type of foolishness. We know that everybody's coming here for that same purpose of doing what? Trying to get away from that stuff. Trying to get away from it, man. Trying to come here and practice the deen and be away from that stuff. Like leaving that jahiliyyah outside these gates. Where this gate, like this is a protection. You come in here, khalas, that's it. You're safe. Safe from all that stuff. And it's not allowed. But Allah Musta'an, like I said, man, the situation, actually, like right now, I'm telling you, I don't want to be in America at all. And I'm serious. Like, as soon as I got the opportunity to leave, I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to find another imam because I'm on a plane. I'm getting out of here. You know, I apologize, but I'll come back and visit, inshallah. But it's just too much.
We'll be gone too.
Huh?
We'll all be gone.
Yeah, I advise everybody to leave. This is crazy.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because why is it?
Yeah.
Because wallahi akhi, the kuffar respect Islam more than the Muslims. We can go out and amongst the kuffar and you dress like a Muslim, they will respect you more than the Muslims. The Muslims will look at you, you trying to practice your deen. How many names do we get called on a daily basis? You're Madkhali, you're Wahhabi, you're Daeshi, you're Irhabi, you're Mutashaddid, you're extreme. They got that name for every day of the week, akhi, for us. But the kuffar, they see us and they say, oh wow, this guy is really religious. He really takes his religion seriously. Wallahi, the kuffar respect the Muslim that's practicing his deen more than the Muslims. And I'm not saying like individuals. I'm saying for jumla, you know.
But that's where the other question is going to come. Is where are you going to go? Where are we going to go? Where is it better than?
I mean, you got places like that. You have like different places where you can go seek knowledge and where everybody's going there for that purpose. They're going there to purify themselves. You understand? They're going there to learn their deen, to practice their deen, and to get away from all this chaos. You know, and that's it. You find those places, and they exist. And if they don't exist, you what? You make it. You make it. You know, and that's why I said I wasn't joking. I said, look at the Amish and look at how they treat the Amish. And look at like if we tried to do the same thing and look what the Muslims would say about us. They respect the kuffar doing something. If we did the same thing, akhi, they call us terrorists. They call us, akhi, they can do it. We can do the same thing. We can go out and buy land out in the middle of nowhere, farm our own food, and get away from this. I mean, if I was going to stay in America, it had to be like that. It can't be in these cities, akhi, having to deal with all this stuff all the time. Akhi, this is too much. This is too much, akhi. Wallahi, you see Muslim women, wallahi, dress in ways that you be like, yeah, akhi, where are you going to escape? Where are you going to escape? Akhi, I go to Food Max, I'm going to see these kuffar women dressed like this. I go around here to see the Muslim women dressed like this. Where are you going to escape? Where can we escape? Yeah, the only other choice is to what? Stay home. Stay home and never leave your house. Is that feasible? You know?
We're taking questions.
Huh?
We're taking questions.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Hamid says, when I am walking in my neighborhood, this is going back to when you were reading the hadith about Matat al-Adab. He says, when I am walking in my neighborhood, I close the middle gate or whatever so it's not blocking. Does this count?
Whatever your intentions are. Not blocking what though? Not blocking the sidewalk. Yeah, because anything that you're removing an obstruction from the path of the people.
So could littering be like?
Littering is doing the opposite. You're putting the adha in the tariq.
So it is not.
Yeah, it's haram. It's disrespectful, especially in the masjid.
No, I can't mention it. Okay.
What?
Okay. Oh, no.
What's that?
He's only mentioned.
Because, imatat al-adha and al-tariq is from the iman. So what did the Prophet sallallahu because this hadith wasn't mentioned here. He didn't mention the hadith of Abu Hurairah. But he said what? أن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الإيمان بضع وسبعون أو بضع وستون شعبة فأعلاها قول لا إله إلا الله وأدناها إماطة الأذى عن الطريق. So he said what? Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه, he reported that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, he said that the Iman is 70, and there's a difference in narration, 70 or 60 branches of Iman. He said the highest branch of Iman is what? Saying La ilaha illallah. Alright. And the lowest branch of Iman is what? Removing these harmful things from the pathway. So if it's from Iman to remove it, then it's what? Then what is it when you're actually the one putting the harmful thing in the pathway? Is that not haram? So, I mean, that's against the lowest form of Iman. This hadith is evidence for what?
That.
Come on.
Oh, look who's here.
So even outside of the masjid, it's haram.
Yeah, because you're putting al-adha in the tariq.
What if it's not in the tariq? It's just.
Well, you don't litter, akhi.
Oh, this is the ruling.
Huh?
Is it haram? If it's not in the. It's
Well,
not,
look.
The tariq means like the way.
Is the laws of the country stipulate what? Is it illegal in the country?
Yes.
Okay, take. Is it from the laws that go against any of the usul of Islam?
No.
No, in this case it agrees with the usul of Islam. So, khalas, obey the laws. That's because this is from amongst the laws that what? They agree with Islam. It doesn't go against any of the usul of Islam, and you obey it. You know, so, and what type of Muslim are we, akhi? We're the ones throwing garbage? We should be the ones, you know, like, you know, where the people look at them and like, you know, like what happened that other time? Remember that? You remember when we went to the curry place? Well, what did we talk about when we went there? What happened?
Cleaning off the tables and putting everything away and putting the trash away and all that kind of stuff.
And they gave us free cheese sticks, and we didn't even want the free cheese sticks. All we wanted was what? To leave behind clean tables. Yeah. When they come back and we put all the tables back, chairs back, all the tables are clean.
The Muslims come here and leave their tables and trash worse than anybody else. No.
Yeah.
We come there, we eat, clean it up.
And especially them because they're Indians and they're not Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
So let them now see Muslims like, oh, okay, these Muslims are different. These are like a whole. So then they start to understand not all Muslims are the same too, you know. But every time they come in here, they clean up, you know. And that woman said, we're going to give you free cheese sticks. So, you know, good cheese sticks though. You can't take this cat.
I'm not taking
She's the community. She's actually a community member.
She
Yeah, she's our Juza though.
she prays Fajr every day in the masjid.
I don't say she prays, but she witnesses it.
Hey man, that's her salat, man. ولكن لا تفقهون. What? Speak. There you go. You don't understand it, but she's here doing her.
This is
She's
quoting
doing
a
her
verse from the
tasbih.
Quran. This is the verse from the Quran. Come on. We need to have a statement from the Salaf to explain that.
All right. What other questions?
يعني في سؤال
Just choose the important question.
Okay, this is an important question.
If you say that name,
No. Questioner says,
who's the questioner?
I don't know their name.
You're lying.
I don't. I really don't. Like, I can't say this is Fulan. Says,
How you see the name of the questioner? What are you talking about?
yeah, but no one's named this.
What's the name that's written on your phone?
There's many names.
No, but what's the name for this? See, this is the games that we have to go.
No, okay. No, but it's actually.
All right, go on with the cherry picking. Go ahead.
You said I could pick. Min al-Muslimin, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen says, does one have to inform a potential suitor if the last vaccine they took is about 10 years ago?
No, we weren't talking about all vaccines. We're talking about specifically like the stuff that hasn't been researched.
You know?
Huh? Say hi to everybody.
It's like delivering a baby. Another one says like this. I don't know. Is it permissible?
Huh?
The question says, is it permissible to host a women's gathering for a nikah if the walls of the hall are glass so other men can see from outside?
No.
No, it's not permissible.
Well, the men can see.
Is it permissible to host a women's gathering for a nikah if the walls of the hall are glass so other men can see from outside?
The men can see the women.
Yes. So other men can see from outside. They're going to be somewhat covered, but still not going to be.
They're not going to be somewhat
wearing
active
the
right
proper
though.
hijab. Is it permissible to
No.
attend such gathering?
Are they going to be sitting there in between the glass and they can see them? You might as well just go ahead and just let them stand at the door.
Just get curtains or something. It's not that hard.
If they can see them, let me stand at the door too.
Probably more than just one nikah though. Well,
This cat loves the masjid. I have never seen a cat that loves the masjid as much as this cat. As soon as you open that door, she's right in the masjid.
The hadith we talk about, I think, imatat al-adab, is it obligation or recommended?
Huh?
The hadith we talk about, imatat al-adab, is removing harm from the road, is it mandatory or?
It's from the lowest form of iman. And if you have the ability to remove it, I mean, obviously there's it all goes back to the person's ability, right? So, like, for example, you see something that's dangerous. Like, I remember one time, we were riding with Abdul Malik. I remember this one, Abdul Malik. And I was like, do you see that? You're like, yeah, I see it. I was like, do you see that? He's like, I see it. I like, Abdul Malik, you don't see that because you were looking at one piece. I was looking at like there was a bed. It just, or something like a wooden frame or something. It just fell out in the middle of the highway. But he was looking at one part. He's trying to avoid that part, but he's driving into the other part, and the one that I saw. I was like, nah, man, I'm talking about that one over there. He's like, oh, shoot, swerving. And that's what we're saying. We're like, well, I would love to say, stop the car, let's get and remove this out of the road, but we're going to die in the process. So if it's going to bring harm to you, then no, you leave it. I mean, what can you do? You can't, you're not going to put your life in danger over something like that, but you have the ability to remove something, And you see glass in the road, in front of your house, go get a broom, sweep it up. Get it out the road. You see the kuffar wallahi, they start to see the Muslims doing stuff like that. What do you think they're going to think? And that's the way. Like, these kuffar should always see us doing some type of good. They should never see the ugliness of us. But this is what the kuffar see now. They see the Muslims cheating people. They see the Muslims like acting like gangsters. They see the Muslims acting fools.
Smoke shops.
Yeah, Muslims owning smoke shops, liquor stores. But to be fair, most of these kuffar don't know that those dudes are Muslim. Because they don't represent
They know they're Yemeni.
They know they're Arabs, but they don't. Most of the kuffar really don't associate.
No, they do.
Huh?
Yeah.
They did, when I was in school.
They always consider Arab to be Muslim and Muslim to be Arab.
Oh yeah.
They consider, and anytime they see Hindu, Sikh, or any of those people, they automatically assume that they Muslim. So Muslim gonna give credit for
Everything.
anybody coming out of the Middle East or the East or whatever.
Far East, Middle East.
Middle East, India, Muslims gonna get the credit for it.
Alright, so yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This is what they see all the time. And they just see the badness. I think let the people see good.
Sorry, 906. But is it mandatory or not mandatory?
If you have the ability, remove it.
If you have the ability, it becomes mandatory.
Yeah, and you're the only one. It's like if there's a harm in the pathway, removing that harm from the pathway of the Muslims is what? Farad al-kifaya. Somebody's got to move it. Somebody has to remove it. If you just leave it, everybody leaves it, and then the harm comes to a Muslim, khalas, who's going to get the sin for that harm? You saw it. Yeah, so I mean, you have to, any type of harm that has to be removed. And even if it's not a Muslim, let's say it's your neighbors. Like you see glass out in the road and you're afraid, my neighbors might drive over it. That's your neighbor, actually. Even if he's a kafir. You go out and you remove it. You get up there, sweep it up. Khalas. You get your ajr, inshallah. I mean, you never know, man. That could be the one thing that you do that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up your chest. Next thing you know, praying at night becomes easy, reading the Quran becomes easy, and you die on that and you go to Jannah. That's a huge, huge thing for something that most people look at like as an insignificant act,
Oh, come on.
Oh, you come on.
No, this question.
Yay, can you do that outside?
Maybe she's considering it, or maybe she sees something.
Nah, she's looking for food, man. That's why.
She heard something that we didn't.
Come on, man, focus on the question.
What do you do if somebody's vaping in front of the masjid?
What do you do?
That's the question. What do you do if somebody's vaping in front of the masjid?
Tell him that it's not permissible. Is he going to listen? I mean, and it also depends on the situation, man. Because you got certain individuals that the ignorance level of that person is really, really high. And that's why we always tell Hamza, like, what? Stay out of this, right? Stay out of this. Because certain people, actually, they're just not going to listen to advice. And even trying to tell them that something's haram, it might lead to something that's way, you look at the situation, akhi, and you use wisdom with each situation. Because the whole point of a nasiha is to do what? Yeah, but it's to izalat al-munkar, right? To remove the munkar, to remove the sin, remove the bad action. So you can't go and then not use hikmah trying to do this izalat al-munkar, and then you end up creating what? A bigger munkar, you know what I'm saying? So now he's vaping, now he's insulting you, you're insulting him, now you're fighting. Come on, akhi, at this point, use
Now you're
hikmah.
picking on them. If it was your people, you wouldn't have said anything, and all this
Yeah.
foolishness.
So I mean, if you have the authority, like somebody who's respected in the community goes up to the person and talks to them and explains to them, no, this is not permissible. We don't allow this here. But again, it's just like
We call him,
huh?
we call him. But questioner named Muslim, says, what should a woman do if her menses comes right after her nikah? And how should she tell her husband if she is too shy?
Well, I think every single man on the face of this earth understands that a woman goes through that. Generally, the women know when that time of the month is for her. So the smartest thing would be to look at her situation. I mean, now here's the problem though. You've already scheduled it. You already rented out the hall, and then all of a sudden, like she just like her whole cycle just changed up a little bit. Maybe because she's nervous, and then something happened that her cycle changed, and she's just gonna have to tell him. Well, I mean, what you gonna do?
But that's also why here, the woman is more involved in setting that date, because she will know also that this is a week after she become, free.
Yeah.
So she will have, a week after or a week or two before, so she knows.
Yeah, because most of these things they always do these in advance, so
Yeah.
it's kind of hard for the woman to know, like, all right, today I'll be free. I won't have this problem.
But she should know,
Yeah, within that, yeah.
relatively span that her time is from here to here. So she should know a week outside of that, or 10 days in front of that, or 10 days behind that.
Yeah.
She should be relatively.
Yeah, because normally the stress
Yeah.
doesn't mess up the cycle, and when a woman like feels a lot of stress, she actually doesn't.
Lazy.
Yeah, it delays it.
Yeah.
And that could cause a mess up of the cycle of her stressing out, and where she thinks that it's gonna come at this time, but it doesn't. Like now it's that time because she's stressing and thinking so much, and that it's like, wait, it's not coming, and then it's delayed, and then next thing you know, yeah, then it can happen. But if it does happen, she's just gonna have to let him know, like, this is reality, this is the situation. Sooner or later, he's gonna know this. So, and every man has sisters, so.
And the Rasulullah
Well, not every man has sisters, but I mean most men have sisters, yeah.
The Rasulullah did the Fatiha, he married women, then consummated, not at the time of the Khatib, but after.
Mm.
So, that is also clear for us that you can do the nikah, you can do everything. If it's not available to consummate then, but still your wife, you consummate,
Yeah.
and it becomes available.
I mean, if she's shy, she could have like her brother or her father talk to the man and say, look, this is the situation. She's going to stay at the house until she's finished, and then you can come get her. Because if he agrees, it's up to, look at the situation.
I came across a fatwa of Sheikh Salih Fawzan. He said, Hafidhullah, he was asked about what's the ruling of doing reading the Fatiha at the nikah. He said it's a bid'ah. What's the ruling on that?
I don't know if I don't know if
Fawzan said.
I don't know anything about it. No, I'm not disagreeing with the fatwa. I'm saying I don't know of ever reading a hadith about the recitation of the Fatiha, because we went through that hadith about the man when he got married. He just married him right on the spot. So now you gotta feed her.
She look cute. It's 8 seconds long.
I believe you. Yeah, I know.
Hamid Jamal says, just say Hamid. Are we sinful if we talk about someone who we already know deviated from the correct path?
There's no benefit for talking about it. I mean, just because a person's deviated doesn't give you the right to sit down and just munch on his back. You understand? They're talking about the deviance. It has to have a maslahah. And the maslahah is that you're warning against that person. If you already know the person is a deviant, he knows he's a deviant, we all agree on this, why are we going to sit here and talk about the person? What's the benefit? What do we benefit? So it was beneficial when a person now, he is not aware of this guy. And you're explaining now, these are the issues that he has, this is the deviance that he has, and this is how he goes against the Quran and the Sunnah. There's a benefit, there's a maslahah. That you're, again, it's the imatatul adha an tariq, right? Al-ma'nawiyah, you know. But to sit around just talking about people for no reason, without a maslahah, no. I mean, look, just because jarh wa ta'dil does not give you an open pass to just start doing, backbiting people. No, the ulama didn't just sit around just backbiting people. They sat around explaining the truth when the truth needed to be explained. And other than that, then they were busy teaching the people their deen. But when those issues came up, they dealt with those issues accordingly. But they not spend their whole lives just dealing with, talking about fulan, talking about fulan, talking about fulan. Go and read the life of Imam al-Bukhari, the life of Imam Ahmed, and see what they were busy with their lives. What were they doing with their lives? They were busy learning their deen, practicing their deen, and teaching the people the deen. And when those issues came up where they had to refute the people, they did it. They stood up and they performed their wajib. But they didn't sit there and just spend their whole time doing this, where they're taking this one aspect of the deen, which is a jarh wa ta'dil, and turning this to the whole deen, and this is where we're going to focus ourselves. So it's like if you just sit back and focus only on a jarh wa ta'dil, that's it. Your whole deen becomes this. What's the difference between you and the Khawarij right now? What's the difference? Because the Khawarij, what do? They take this one aspect of what? And al-hukm illa lillah, right? This is their thing, right? And they want to make takfir. So they're going to spend their whole time talking about what? The Muslim leaders, not teaching the people anything, not studying anything. They're going to spend every single lesson talking about Surdi this and Surdi that, and the Khalij this and the Khalij that. And then the people who are supposed to be teaching the people the deen and preparing them so they not, fall into these shubahat, what are they doing? Fulan is this, Fulan is that, Fulan is this, and then getting up on the minbar, speaking about people on the minbar. Yeah, hey, come on, man, what type of stupidity? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're going to even go to the extreme where you get up on the minbar and you start refuting somebody and start, going off on a person on the minbar. You use, this is a time for like warning the Muslims against the shar and motivating them to do the khair that they need to be doing as Muslims. You don't turn this into like a bashing session, but this is the ghulu that a lot of people have, and it's because of what?
Sorry.
It's not sitting with the ulama. It's not really having that true tarbiyat al-Islamiyya. It's reading a couple books, and then what? Just going to extremes. Go ahead, man. He's answering phone calls in the class.
Okay. Yallah, inshallah. Yallah, salam alaikum.
You see this?
It's the brother because we agree.
Who was that?
Ahmed Nabil.
Oh, because you're going to go play basketball at 12 o'clock at night.
It's not even, it's 9:30, bro.
It's like 12 o'clock right now. Yeah, we prayed Isha, and we're taking this class for an hour in the summertime, it would be 12 o'clock right now.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's like it's,
2-3 months ago, yeah.
yeah, so it feels like it's 12 o'clock now, doesn't it? Go ahead, two questions.
Alhamdulillah for the winter, we get to sleep early.
Yeah, some, but we don't.
Get some sleep.
Yeah, we have the chance, the opportunity to do it, but we don't.
Yeah, but like, if you pray Isha, at 6, soon, maybe by 7, 8 o'clock, you're gonna be asleep.
You could, yeah.
Sam says, do I have to accept marriage invitation from Tabligh Jama'at people? They are far relatives and they live 8 hours plus far.
They're Muslims, akhi. I don't know if they're your family, and if they're family, that even gives them more rights over you. You go there, but that doesn't mean that you have to sit there and participate in everything that they do. You go there, give them the salams, and whatever, make dua for them and leave. But fulfill your obligations.
Starting Slave says, have you ever seen nur on people's faces increase or decrease over time?
Both.
Yes. Okay, that's 2 questions.
Nah, come on, man. He just wants to get out of here, man.
Rasulullah told us up and down. From the pole.
He was like, the lights closer.
You see, after coming out of Ramadan, everybody is full of nur. Shortly after that,
Yeah, that like
so
somebody
much.
knocked out the electricity, boy. It's like
Somebody hit
all the
utility-
lights in the city go out.
2 weeks later, it looked like somebody hit the utility pole. It's big, wobbly, dim, flashing.
MA says, it's taken after a fistful from your beard against the sunnah. And it's not narrated from the Prophet, but it is from Sahaba.
That's Abdullah ibn Umar. Narration is not authentic.
He says, and your thoughts on Shaykh al-Albani's view on this?
That's his opinion. And like opinions are like opinions. You know, there are opinions. You know, there are correct opinions and there are incorrect opinions. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that when we talked about the hadith about the ijtihad. Man ijtahada فأصاب فله أجران ومن اجتهد فأخطأ فله أجر. So who got athbata? He affirmed that the people are going to make mistakes. We don't follow people in their ijtihad mistakes. The Prophet ﷺ never took anything from his beard, never. And he told the people not to take anything from the beard. So we follow the Prophet ﷺ. If a sahabi makes ijtihad from himself, all right, if that's his ijtihad from himself, if it's authentic, you understand? If it's actually authentic, all right, which it's not. But I'm just saying, if it was authentic, that's his ijtihad. Does that mean that we have to follow his ijtihad? No, we go back and we follow the sunnah. So we see that the Prophet ﷺ never did this, and he, you know, and then and what do you say, that the Prophet ﷺ's beard was not long? No, I'm just saying, like they said, kana dhu lihiyatin azima. You know, they mentioned kana da lihiyatin azima, like he had a huge beard. And then they said that they used to know that the Prophet ﷺ was reciting what he was moving his mouth with the recitation in Dhuhr and Asr because of what? His beard was moving. So they knew that he wasn't just sitting there doing this. That he was actually like, you know, he was actually mouthing the words out in the salah, even though it was silent, because of the movement of his beard. So that means that his beard was it was not small. So I mean, you know, khayr al-hadi, hadi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Is it?
Yeah, one more. Gotta keep him away from basketball.
No, because they said the lights turn off early, but...
You know, Sheikh, I said, this is the first time I hear this, that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never cut his beard, or he told us not to even cut it. You know, I thought it was okay to trim your beard.
No, it's from the fitra. You know? You go back and just look it up, the hadith about the fitra. All of them, yeah. You leave the beard and you trim the mustache.
Trim the mustache, not shave it off like the other one, you trim it.
But they said that, you know, what they said, yeah, don't shave it off
Yeah.
and don't turn into Saddam Hussein. Yeah. But they said, كَانَ يُبَالِغُونَ فِي قَصِّهِ, you know, that they used to exaggerate, like, so they would trim it down, but they would trim it, like, to the lowest where it's still, mustache is still there, but it's like as low as it's going to go. Like, they would, like, exaggerate in how much they used to trim it. But they would still have mustache, you know, not the Tablighi thing, you know, or the Amish thing. The Amish also, you gotta feed that cat, man. She's like, I ain't sitting up here for free.
What is prescribed in doing, planning to do Umrah? For instance, is there any sunnah recommended?
Yeah, you see a lot, yeah. What's up?
What is prescribed in planning to do Umrah? For instance, is there any sunnah or recommendation on letting people know
Letting people know what?
that you're going to do Umrah?
That you have to do that.
Or is there any sunnah?
I don't know if any sunnah is.
If you owe them, if you owe a debt to them, you have to get permission from them. If you if you don't come back, they forgive the debt.
Yeah, but he's talking about just announcing it to the people.
No.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know if anything. I'm not saying. See, I stopped saying that type of stuff because to say that it's not a sunnah, that's a very strong statement. But all I can say is I don't know. I have never, like, it's nothing that I can remember reading. I don't, you know. So that means, like, from, you know, somebody like Imam al-Bukhari could make that statement. It's not from the sunnah to do this. For us, Masakin, we could just say from the knowledge, that the little drop in the ocean that I have of knowledge of what I read from hadith, I don't know of anything like that. One more.
Striving slave, for your book for the prison inmates and letting go of Jahili associations, what is the first chapter going to be about?
That's this. Islam is the complete religion. We don't need nothing else. We don't need anybody. We don't need ideas or anything. Look, whatever technological advances or whatever that we could use to benefit the Muslim, that's one thing. But when we talk about ideas and reading through this, let me read through these books and let me take a little from philosophy. Like, akhi, this ain't no Chinese buffet, akhi. You know what I'm saying? This is a deen, akhi. This is about you, either going to Jannah or you going to Jahannam. Akhi, you can't be playing around with this, like mixing all this stuff. The religion's complete. We don't need any new interpretations. We don't need any modernity. Islam is the most modern religion, ya jama'ah. You guys are going backwards. You're going backwards. By sitting here and going, what? Like, how you sit here and say, these kuffar tell us that we're backwards. And then they call us to do what? Follow their philosophers. Yeah, akhi, your philosophers are the ones way before Isa alayhi salam. They were idiots. They didn't understand anything. And go read the lives of these philosophers and the stuff that they did with little boys. Akhi, you want us to follow them. So this now is reverting back to Jahiliyyah, is going in the wrong path. This deen this is the last and final revelation to mankind, and it's complete, it's done, it's finished. There's nothing more modern than Islam. Khalas, that's it, and there's not going to be anything more modern, and that's why now you're going to start to see the dunya going into reverse now. This dunya is gone as far as it's going to go. Now what you're starting to see is what? Prices getting higher, people having to live more frugal, people having to live with less now, and you're going to start to see this more and more and more until we start to revert back to the times, that the people lived in before. And that goes back to the hadith when they fight against the Romans. And then we talked about this hadith before. And what did the Prophet ﷺ say in the hadith? He said, فَلَمَّا عَلَّقُوا سَيُوفَهُمْ بِالزَّيْتُونَ. All right? Because obviously, where are they going to be fighting? In Sham, yeah. All right? Yeah, it's going to be the whole area of Sham. And that's why, the Sham, all of the fighting, and that's why the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, he said, إِذَا فَسَدَ الشَّامِ فَلَا خَيْرَ فِيكُمْ. Y'all know this hadith? Look it up. Yeah, this is authentic hadith. إِذَا فَسَدَ الشَّامِ فَلَا خَيْرَ فِيكُمْ. Look at this. Imagine this hadith right now, right? The Prophet ﷺ said, either if Sham becomes corrupt, la khayra fikum, then there's no good in you as an ummah. And as far as, because that was the strong point of the Muslims. That was the strength of the Muslims. And once it got into the hands of the Batiniyah, the Rafidah, the Yahud, and it's been taken out of the hands of the people of the Sunnah, khalas, akhi, that is like, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned he made dua for two places on this earth. And what were those two places?
Sham.
And? No, wait, hold on. Huh?
It says Sham.
No, okay, he did make dua for Mecca. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about specifically in one hadith where he made dua for two places other than Mecca. Sham and Yemen. He said, Allahumma barak lana fi Shamina wa fi Yemenina. He said, Allahumma, and he said, wa fi Najdina. He said, Allahumma barak lana fi Shamina wa Yemenina. Now here's the issue, right? Because the people, they kept saying, wa fi Najdina, wa fi Najdina. And this is the hadith that the Khawarij always use, right? They always try to say, oh, see, this shows that the Najd is the place where the Qur'an Shaitan tatla. You know what Najd is? In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, like right now, the word Najd, it refers to what area of land? Yeah, it refers to Riyadh and, Durriya and all these places where the government of Sardiya was established. It's called Najd. It wasn't called Najd in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. What was it called? It was called Yamama. Najd in the time of the Prophet referred to the southern part of Iraq. And even the Imam Nawawi said that, and it also came in another hadith where the Prophet, where the Sahabi said, فَأَوْمَأَ بِيَدِهِ نَحْوَ الْإِرَاقِ, that he pointed with his hand towards Iraq. Now, if he was pointing towards Iraq and he's in Medina, and Riyadh is over that way, so he can't be pointing at Riyadh and pointing at Iraq at the same time. Even though you got Riyadh, if you go north from Riyadh, yes, you're going to go to the Iraqi border. But he's in Medina. And he said, فَأَوْمَا بِيَدِهِ نَحْوَ الْإِرَاقِ. So Najd in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, because Najd is a al-Arab al-Murtafiq. So they used to refer to any land when it goes up, when the elevation goes up, they refer to it as Najd. In Yemen, they refer to that land as what? Sa'ada. Because you tas'ad, ilayhi. But in the Hijaz, in that area, they refer to any land that goes up as Najd. Najd. So the land where the government's at now is called Yamama. It wasn't called. And that's where Musaylamat al-Kadhab, he was called what? Kadhab al-Yamama. Kadhab al-Yamama. He was in that area. And the tribes that from that area, Bani Bakr and Bani Hurayra. That's not the area of Najd, of what there was a Najd in the time of the Prophet. But anyway, so the Prophet ﷺ made dua for what? Sham and Yemen. Allahumma barak lana, put blessing in our Sham and our Yemen. And you see these kuffar are so intent on making sure that they take Sham and Yemen away from the people. That's why you see all the fighting now is in Sham and is in what? As in Yemen, because they don't, all that barakah. You think these kuffar are stupid? We're the stupid ones. We're the ones that don't know these hadiths. You think those Yahud don't know these hadiths? You think that the Yahud don't know the hadith about the gharqad? And what is the gharqad?
It's the tree that you're going to hide behind.
Yeah, and then what did they start doing?
Start planting them all.
Start planting them all over the place, so they got a tree that they can hide behind that won't say, that won't mention that there's, but it's kind of stupid because we'll know to go behind those gharqad. Because every single thing will say, mu'min, there's a Yahudi wara'i, even a hajar, anything, except for the gharqad, فَإِنَّهُ شَجَرَةَ الْيَهُودِ فَإِنَّهَا شَجَرَةَ الْيَهُودِ. Yeah, and that's what the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, well, we don't, most Muslims don't know these hadith. Those kuffar know them. You find a hadith about the, shuf the Mufrad, the taqreed of the hadith, look it up.
I studied like in Jordan, okay, and back in the days, like at my age, in the 80s, we used to study most of these hadiths. Right now, my kids were in Amman for like 6 years. You don't find any of this stuff in the books. None
Yeah,
of
they
it.
took it all out.
None of it. You ask him, even Hatim al-Ta'i, I don't know if you know Hatim al-Ta'i, you ask him about Hatim al-Ta'i, they don't know, you ask them about Khalid bin Walid, they don't know. They don't know any of these names now.
Yeah, they like the books, the Islamic science books, they went from being like this to like a little pamphlet.
Yeah.
Like now you could literally sit down in an hour probably and read the whole Islamic science book right now. They just took everything out. There's nothing left in those books. No history, no nothing. You find it. إذا فسد الشام فلا خير فيه. I want to know the takhrij of that hadith. Go ahead while he's looking. Another question. And then the three armies, where are they going to be at?
Muslim.
3 armies. 3. Where are they? You don't know. The Prophet ﷺ said, the tasir al-amur. حتى تصيروا ايش؟ جنود مجندة. Like you're going to be like armies gathered together. And he mentioned 3 junud. He said jundum fil Iraq,
وجند في اليمن,
jundum fil Yemen, wa jundum fil Sham. So 3, Iraq, Yemen, and Sham. And then they asked him, they said, أين تنصحنا إذا أدركنا هذا؟ إذا أدركنا هذا. فقال أنصحكم بالشام فإنه خيرة الله في أرضه. He said, I advise you to go to Sham. فإنه خيرة الله في أرضه. What was the wording that the Prophet ﷺ used? He used the wording, but I can't remember the exact word he used. It means to return. Like all of the good people, they return to this land. And he said, فَإِنْ أَبَيْتُمْ فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِيَمَنِكُمْ. He said, if you refuse,
يجتبي
something like that. We could look at that.
لها في بطن خلقه.
Yeah. But then after that he said, فَإِنْ أَبَيْتُمْ فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِيَمَنِكُمْ. And he said, if you refuse, then you go to Yemen. And he said, وَلَكِنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ ضَمَّنَ لِي لِشَامِ وَأَهْلِي. Allah has guaranteed me with the people of Sham, with the Sham and its people. So, Allah musta'an. That's where the believers are going to be in the last days. So,
You think this is the time?
no. This is setting the tables. Right now, what you're seeing is the tables being set. You know, so you're going to see the collapse of Jordan. You're going to see, and unfortunately, because you already see these Rafidah sitting on the border of Jordan. Like right now, their goal is to cause Jordan to collapse. And I honestly believe if they can do that, then their next target is going to be Saudi, and the rest of the Khalij, and just cause it all to collapse. That's once they do that, that's when everything's going to go south for them, inshallah. Because the army that's chasing the Mahdi is coming from the north of Mecca. North of Mecca, is where? Jordan. So they're coming down to attack the Mahdi. And this is a hadith of Aisha. If I'm not mistaken, it's like one of the first couple of hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin. I'm not sure the exact number. But it's in because Al-Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, he put it in this bab of Aniyah. Why? Because he said, إِذَا كَانُوا بِبَيْدَاءَ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ فَإِنْ خَصَفَ بِأَوَّلِهِمْ وَآخِرِهِم. So the whole army, once it gets to Al-Bayda, and Al-Bayda, we spoke about this before, it's between Medina and Khaybar. This was in which class was that? The last one? I think we spoke about Al-Bayda. Alright, Al-Bayda is between Medina and Khaybar. So once they get to Al-Bayda min al-ard, إذا انخسف بهم الأرض, the earth is gonna swallow up the whole army. And then Aisha radiallahu anha,
I'm sorry, except one of them on a couple of them.
well, she asked him, she said, what about, فيهم أسواقهم ومن ليس منهم? She said, well, there's their markets and the people that have nothing to do them. But then the Prophet ﷺ said, ينخسف بأولهم وآخرهم ويبعثون على إيش؟ على نياتهم. Yeah. So they'll all be like raised up based on their intentions. Like the earth is going to swallow everybody up. The army and anybody that's in that vicinity. Everybody's going to get swallowed up with the earth. And then they're all going to be raised up on the day of judgment based on their intentions. So the people that were just in the market, they have nothing to do with that khalas. But the people, the army, the one that was going out to the Mahdi to go to attack him, and then khalas, they're going to face the punishment for that. But that is al-Bayda.
So this is the sign that this is the man.
Yeah, he's going to be coming from that area.
Well,
And then the army's going to be, the army's going to be chasing him.
Yeah, this is the sign that this is the man, or this is the man.
Yeah, well, there's other signs. Because the hadith of Ali, radiallahu anhu, he said, إنه من أهلي يوافق اسمي واسم أبيه اسم أبي. So he says that the Mahdi is from my family, and he has his name is the same as my name, and his father's name is the same as my father's name. So obviously, you got a guy comes up and says, I'm the Mahdi, and his name is like Hassan ibn Ahmed. You're like, nah, you ain't no Mahdi, akhi, come on. First off, he has to be from the lineage of the Prophet. And the second thing, his name has to be Muhammad ibn Abdullah. His name and the Prophet's name have to match up.
Yeah.
And then you have the other signs of the hadith. You go like Sunan Abi Dawud, he has a good chapter on the Mahdi. Bukhari doesn't really have a lot of hadith. Sahih Muslim has a hadith, but the best book to get on all these Sharat al-Sa'ad is Ibn Kathir. He has a book that's called An-Nihaya, which is just like the end. Because he had Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, and then he just had An-Nihaya. It's just like this is it. And all the signs before the last days. And then he discusses all these different hadith. Any more? One more question that we leave.
The last
I'm pretty sure. Come on,
20
this
minutes.
this is the stuff that people love and ask them. Well, when you start talking about the last days, the Mahdi and all, man,
It went from gang violence to Mahdis.
Yeah, this is the stuff people love, man. Yes, come on, man. They go all like ask a lot of people. They sit there and you search all over YouTube looking for this stuff, man.
He said Jordan is going to be destroyed.
Allah, that's my opinion.
The army is going to go out of Jordan.
That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's going to be like this and that.
It makes sense that the army would go out right now.
But I'm saying they've already put a whole bunch of Rafidah on the border of Jordan.
Yeah.
And those dudes haven't left, have they?
No.
Are they still there? And the military standing there.
They're sending in a lot of drugs and stuff into Jordan.
Well, but the same thing that they did in Yemen, in Sana'a. The Houthis, they went out and they participated in the marches, right? In the protests, right? Now, okay, they sent the missile and they hit Ali Abdullah Saleh right He's our neighbor, and we sat there and got to watch the whole thing take place after Jumu'ah that day that they hit him with the missile, you know. And then he goes to Saudi for medical treatment. They make him sign the paper to give up the government to Abdul Rabbu, all right? To like, you know, and then they're going to have all these elections. Okay, once that happened, all the protesters, what? They went home. They said, we're done. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve. Except for who? The Houthis. They stayed in the Saha. They stayed in the place with their tents. They didn't go home. They stayed there. And everybody was like, why are these Houthis still protesting? Why are they still here when everybody's done? Because they're like, our revolution hasn't started yet. And even I remember one of my students I was teaching at the time, you know, he told me, he's a Houthi. And he said, teacher, he said, our revolution's about to begin. You know, and right after he said that, well, it wasn't even a month later, the Houthis surrounded Sana'a and they took over Sana'a. So they, you know, you start to see the same pattern in Jordan. When they start to put those dudes on the border, that's when you're gonna have to start strapping up, akhi. You know, get ready. And when the people ignored that stuff in Yemen, they just ignored it. Oh, these guys are crazy. Oh, they're mukhazzinun. Dude, they have 400 houses full of weapons in Sana'a. That they were just like sitting there, you know, just bringing weapons in the Sana'a, bringing weapons, digging tunnels and all this type of stuff, while everybody's sleeping on them. Nah, you don't sleep on these. They're evil. They're evil. You don't sleep on them. That's why I'm saying you don't have an ally with a person that you know is gonna stab you in the back. These people don't want good for us, akhi. And if they, you know, like I said, their main thing, if they can cause the collapse of Jordan, they got 30 surrounded, top and bottom. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? People need to wake up. You know, it's not about military prowess and all this type of stuff. People need to wake up and get back in the masajid and get back to this deen. Because, I mean, seriously, you're going to have to start getting back into, you know, things that are pleasing to Allah. When I sit up there in the khutbah all the time and I say hard times are coming, you think I'm just sitting here saying this for fun? I'm telling you, because we lived over there. We saw what's over there. We know what's coming. You know, it's like you know, imagine like you're in a plane, right? And you go to the eye of the storm. You saw the storm, like you're right there and you see it. And you turn the plane around and you come back and you get like, you know, hours and hours, like maybe 24 hours ahead of the storm. And you land and you're trying to tell the people, hey, akhi, there's a storm coming and it's headed right towards us. Y'all might want to, you know, get ready for this. Either if you're not going to get up out of here, you need to start making some preparations, like buy some water, get some shelter, you know, and that's what it is. Akhi, we came from over there. We watched it. We saw it. We were there when the rockets were getting sent on Yemen. We were there when the rockets were getting sent on Riyadh. We watched this stuff. Now we're coming here and we're telling y'all, wake up. This stuff is not over. This is not going to end. This is not like, you know, you sit here and like try to like, you know, like the kids, they try, you know, they see the boogeyman and they throw the blanket over their head and they think, oh, the boogeyman's just going to go away as long as he's under the blanket. It's not, that boogeyman's going to rip your heart out if you sit here and keep sleeping on this stuff. You keep sleeping and see what happens. Now you see, now, you know, the Shaykh, this deen of this fikr al-Rafidiyya spread in Sudan, spread in all these different countries now because the Muslims are sleeping. Muslims are fighting against the Sunnah. Like I said, you know, us when we try to practice the deen, what happens? The people laugh at us, the people mock us, the people call us names. Now these dudes are coming in and money and all this type of stuff. And now who's getting all the shabab now? Shabab going with them. You know, so look at the situation. Actually, people need to wake up. People need to wake up, man. Allah protect us. Allah protect these Muslim countries. Because wallahi, these people want nothing but evil. You think that they're sitting there talking about Sardiya? Akhi, come on. You know, how many, like we talked about this before, how many churches does Sardiya have? 0. How many Buddhist temples? Okay, how many Hindu temples? How many synagogues? 0. How many synagogues do they have in Iran? Hundreds. How many churches? How many Buddhists? They have a Buddhist temple, a Hindu temple in Iran. They don't have one in Sardiya, but yet they want to talk all day long about Sardi. That's because that's the hadaf. That's the goal. Because they feel like that they get rid of Sardiya, that they can get rid of this deen. People got to understand that. So this is not about protecting the Saudi government. This is about standing up and protecting this deen. Akhi, we don't care about, you know, if they're dhalim, they're dhalim. They're going to answer for that on the Day of Judgment. But this is about standing up and protecting this deen. This deen, because this is what they're trying to attack. And, you know, because the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith about Mecca and Medina, what did he say? And hadha deen, what? You look up the wording of the hadith.
I have the other hadith about.
Oh yeah, tell me the takhrij of the. Let me just say, I want to make sure I get the wording right for this hadith.
The one that's highlighted.
إذا فسد أهل الشام فلا خير فيكم لا تزال طائفة من أمتي منصورين لا يضرهم من خذلهم حتى تقوم الساعة والحديث صحيح صححه على الألباني رحمه الله. All right. What's the word? I think the Prophet ﷺ used the word azara.
Translate the hadith.
Man, come on. You translate it, man. He said that the people of Sham, go ahead.
لا يأزر إلى المدينة
كما تعزر الحية إلى جحرها. Yeah. So أن هذا الدين يعزر بين هذين المسجدين كما تعزر الحية إلى جحرها. I think that's it, right? All right. So the Prophet ﷺ said that this deen, it returns to these two masjids, between these two masjids, Mecca and Medina. And no matter what, that doesn't mean that the deen doesn't spread out. The deen spreads out. We see it becomes strong in Sham at one time. It might become strong in Egypt. It might become strong in Yemen. But it's always going to return to what? It's always going to return between Mecca and Medina. Because all the ulama from these countries, where do they go? That's where they want to be at. So it's ta'aziru bayna hadaini masjidain, that it comes back and returns back between these two masjids, just like a hayya, just like a snake returns to its hole. When he leaves it, he goes out, but he'll always come back to it. It's always coming back to it. So the deen will always return back to that. So this is what they want to destroy. Like I said, we don't know these ahadith. The kuffar do. So Allah musta'an. Any more questions? He's over there typing away. This is I'm actually enjoying this discussion, Akhi. Come on, man. He wants to go home. He wants to go play basketball.
Basketball's done now.
It's done. It's waving done. Because you told me, yeah, you restarted 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock they shut off the lights anyways. At the parks, I think 10 o'clock, right?
Not over there. Not where they go tonight.
Or they go to a safe place.
Yeah.
All right. Clovis,
It's not Clovis.
West Clovis.
It's not West Clovis. But anyways, everyone on Savis says, is it permissible to work as a police officer?
No.
For law
Oh, for what?
For law enforcement in general, like FBI,
No,
CIA?
for the kuffar. Absolutely not. You have to take an oath anyways to get the job, and it's not permissible. Questionable if you're even going to do it. Because even doing it as a Muslim, in a Muslim country, there's so many conditions of you have to shave your beard, you have to, dress in a certain way in these uniforms, which is taqlid al-kuffar. No. And as far as like the FBI, it's tajassus. It's not permissible. So no. And if you work for the FBI, who are you going to be spying on? Who are they going to send you to spy on? Ain't going to send you to spy on a synagogue. They're going to send you right here to the khutbah, spying on the Muslims. No, it's not permissible. Absolutely not.
Even for...
I told y'all it's not permissible for you to call the kuffar police on another Muslim. Now you talking about working for them? That's crazy. What's up? Sorry.
For the brothers that even go inside the jail as an imam or a Muslim representative or into the prison, they have to, they swear them in as deputies, and they make them take an oath that if something happened, that they have to stand with, the institution against the Muslims. So the people that they're coming in to give dawah and set up Jummah, they have to take a specific oath that if something happened, they're going to stand against the Muslims with the institution.
They're going to stand against the Muslims.
Yes. They have to take that oath.
I got the hadith for it, but the hadith popped in my head. I'm just checking the wording right now. This one is not going to be a light punishment, man, for the person who does this. You ever heard of the word anuk in the hadith?
What is it?
Anuk.
Alif, Noon, Kaf.
Al-a.
Alif, Noon, Waw, Kaf.
Yeah. المد على الألف الآ No, it's a رصاص المذاب. I'm just trying to remember the wording. Go ahead, find another. One more question while I'm looking for this, inshallah.
I was like 1 more questions ago.
Well, you're not.
That's the goodwill question, man.
What the? Oh, Abu Nasib says, what's the authenticity according to Sheikh Al-Albani and Sheikh Mufrad? Thoughts on black flags of from Khorasan?
Da'if.
Right? Both shuyukh.
I mean, I know the hadith to be da'if. Look up this hadith, man, because it's من استمع إلى حديث قوم وهم له كارهون. All right.
Hassam says, is taking citizenship of Catholic country which requires oath permissible?
No. Absolutely not, because you're taking the oath to the kuffar. You can't do that.
So what daraja is it? Is it kufr? Or is it just sinful?
Sinful if the person sees it as a sin. If he thinks it's halal to go there and make those oaths, which the oaths are kufr, go online and read the oath that they have to take to get into the country. Then when they want to get the citizenship, go read the oath they have to take.
So it is kufr.
If they see it as being halal and they ya'taqidun hadha, yeah, it's kufr. But if they're just doing it like, oh, I know it's wrong, I just want to get the citizenship, then yeah, he's sinful. Kaba'ir.
الحديث أستاذ من استمع إلى حديث قوم وهم له كارهون صب في أذنه
صب في أذنه الآنوك. الآنوك, right.
الآن you see that Hamza or
So, but what it is,
الآنوك.
yeah, الآنوك is الرصاص المذاب. Now what is the one metal that gets the hottest for it to melt down? Well, not the metal, but the material.
Steel.
Huh?
Steel.
No, but to melt it. Like when it's melted down, lead. So here they said, "Man istama' ila hadith qawmin." Is that how the hadith goes?
Yeah, استمع إلى حديث قوم
Qawmin wa hum lahu karihun.
They don't listen to him.
Yeah, they're like, no, they're listening to him, but and he's listening, but he doesn't want them to be listening to them, right? إلا صب في أذنه الآنوك. Like the punishment that he'll get on, whether this is going to be in the grave or on the day of judgment in Jahannam, is that molten melted lead is going to be poured into his ears for listening to what they were saying. So this is your hadith about the permissibility of spying on people, right? That's the punishment for the person who spies on people. So that's no joke, akhi. That's no joke. I mean, you go stick your finger in some melted lead and see how you feel, and then imagine that gets like poured into your ears, huh?
يعني نفس الشيء يعني نفس العذاب يعني حتى في القراءة نفس العذاب حتى في القراءة
في ليش؟
القراءة يعني تتجسس بس يعني على القراءة.
No, أنت تستمع إليه لكي إيش؟ يعني تستفيد من قراءته إيش؟
مثلا تعمل مع FBI وأنت يعني تقرأ للشيخ مثلا تعمل مع FBI.
نعم تتطلع على كتابته إيش؟ نعم أنت تجسس. He doesn't want you to be doing it for that purpose. Like, nah, this is none of your business, right? So you're going around, especially if it's like, like WhatsApp messages and stuff like that, and then they're like spying on the person and reading his messages, his private messages. That's not permissible. It's evil, akhi. في أذني. No.
They don't need a person for that anyway. As soon as you activate the phone, your FCC permission is already, we're on their.
Yeah, I mean, we give them permission to do it anyway.
Yeah, so they don't need us to do it when they got track of every text message, conversation, everything that we've ever had on the FCC device. So they don't even need us to do that.
Yeah, but then people are like, well, I have a VPN. But guess who owns that?
Exactly.
Or encrypt it. Guess who can uncrypt it? Can unencrypt
The
it.
server that encrypts it is
So
stored.
it belongs to them, and they can,
Yeah.
yeah, so come on, man, you ain't doing nothing hidden on these phones. And once you sign up and put anything on this phone and you sign up and give them permission,
Once you say, okay to activate it, then you've already agreed for them to keep everything, every picture, every text message, every phone call, they already
you have to do that for the apps. You have to give them, you give them permission to give access to your pictures, to your audio,
Microphone.
yeah, everything. And that's what they do. They can listen to you and you just gave them permission. You
They
actually,
can, they do.
yeah,
Every single one.
yeah.
Especially with a name like ours. You got an extra
Especially us talking about the stuff we talk about on
They got an
YouTube.
extra server for us, just for us.
All right, man, y'all ready to go home?
Oh, man, let's go.
All right, subhanallah. Huh?
It's way too late now.
Basketball.